In the quiet hum of a university dorm corridor, where the only light came from the moon filtering through a high window, Pat leaned against the cold wall. Her heart wasn't just beating. It was staging a full-blown rebellion inside her chest. Through her earbuds, the soft, melancholic notes of DZHABER's You're My played, a soundtrack to the storm inside her. She closed her eyes, and the image of Prem from earlier that day flooded her senses. The way Prem had looked at her, a dangerous, beautiful mix of fire and fear. It had been months since their worlds collided, months since a simple friendship twisted into something deeper, something far more exhilarating and terrifying than either of them had ever known. Prem was the epitome of perfection, the golden girl, straight A's, a smile that could disarm armies, the daughter every parent wished for. Pat, on the other hand, was her complete opposite. A whirlwind of rebellion, a free spirit who refused to be tamed, a shadow to Prem's light. But from the moment their hands accidentally brushed under a heavy oak table in the library, an undeniable magnetic force had been pulling them together, defying all logic and expectation. That night, the tension that had been simmering for weeks finally boiled over. The silence of the corridor was broken by a single, trembling word. Pat. It was Prem. Her voice was a mere whisper, laced with a vulnerability that made Pat's breath catch. Why do you make it so hard to breathe when you're around? Pat opened her eyes, a slow, knowing smile playing on her lips. She looked up at Prem, whose perfect composure was cracking right before her eyes. Maybe, Pat said, her voice a low murmur. It's because you've been holding your breath for far too long, Prem. The air between them grew thick, charged with unspoken words and desperate longing. It was a silence that wasn't empty, but full of possibilities, a silence begging to be shattered by a touch, a confession, a kiss. And then, it happened. Prem took that single, monumental step forward. Her hand, hesitant at first, brushed against Pat's arm, sending a jolt of electricity through her. Pat's breath hitched as their faces drew closer, so close she could feel the warmth radiating from Prem's skin, could smell the faint, sweet scent of jasmine that always clung to her. I shouldn't, Prem whispered, her voice barely audible, a last-ditch effort to hold on to the world she knew. But you will, Pat murmured back, her gaze fixed on Prem's trembling lips. And she did. Their lips met. It was a kiss that started softly, a tentative exploration, then quickly deepened into something desperate, something hungry. In that moment, the rest of the world, the dorm, the university, their carefully constructed lives, it all just fell away. Nothing existed but the intoxicating taste of forbidden love, a feeling that was electric, burning, and utterly consuming. Prem's hands tangled in Pat's dark hair, pulling her closer as if she was afraid Pat might disappear. Pat's arm wrapped securely around Prem's waist, pressing her firmly against the cool wall. This wasn't just a kiss. It was a confession of everything they couldn't say. It was a rebellion against everyone who told them who they should be. It was a complete and total surrender to the one thing that felt real. When they finally broke apart, gasping for air, Prem's beautiful eyes were glistening with unshed tears. This is poison, she whispered, her voice choked with emotion. Loving you. It's going to destroy everything. Pat offered a sad, gentle smile, her thumb tracing the line of Prem's cheek, wiping away a single tear. Then let it destroy me first. The night swallowed them whole. Their shadows merged into one under the pale, flickering light of the corridor, two souls inextricably caught in a beautiful, tragic dance between love and ruin. The days that followed turned into weeks of stolen moments and secret rendezvous. They lived a double life, wearing masks of casual friendship in the bright, unforgiving light of day. But when no one was watching, they found their own private world. They met in the echoing silence of the empty music room, on the wind-swept rooftop after the sun had set, and in the forgotten, overgrown greenhouse behind the science building. Every touch was a gamble. Every shared glance across a crowded room was a risk. Every secret kiss was a promise they both knew they might not be able to keep. Their love was a fire they had to keep hidden. But the smoke was starting to show. Whispers began to snake through the university halls. Rumors, like poison ivy, started to spread. Then came the photo, a blurry, grainy image captured on a phone, but it was unmistakably them, a stolen kiss in the shadows of the greenhouse. It found its way onto social media, and from there, into the hands of the one person they feared most, Prem's father. The confrontation was as brutal as they had imagined. It was a storm of shouting, tears, and suffocating silence. Prem's heartbroken sobs, her father's thunderous rage, her mother's silent, disapproving stare. The verdict was delivered without a trial. Pat was a disease, a corruption. She was told to stay away, to forget Prem, to simply disappear from her life as if she had never existed. But how do you forget the person who taught your heart how to beat? How do you erase the memory of the one person who made you feel truly alive? The night before Prem was scheduled to be sent abroad to study, as her parents called it, but they all knew it was an exile. The sky opened up. Rain poured down in cold, relentless sheets. Pat stood outside Prem's gate, completely drenched, her body shaking from both the cold and the heartbreak. Suddenly, the front door flew open. Prem ran out into the storm, the umbrella she was holding forgotten, tumbling to the ground. Her eyes were wide with a devastating mix of love and despair. "Why are you here?" she cried, her voice breaking over the sound of the rain. "You can't be here." Pat reached out, her cold hands cupping Prem's face, her touch as gentle as a prayer. "Because you're my, she whispered, the lyrics of their song becoming her own confession. "Even if I can never have you." A sob escaped Prem's lips. She leaned into Pat's touch, tears mixing with the rain on her face. "We're poison to each other, Pat. Then let's burn together," Pat said, her voice thick with finality. And she kissed her one last time. It wasn't like their first kiss. This one was fierce, raw, and desperate. It was a kiss filled with the pain of 1,000 goodbyes, a kiss that tasted of rain and tears and the bitter tragedy of their love. It was a kiss that would be seared into their memories forever. The screech of tires announced the arrival of the taxi. As it pulled away from the curb, carrying Prem away from her, Pat stood motionless in the pouring rain. She watched until the car turned the corner, until Prem's face, pressed against the rear window, faded into the stormy night. Her earbuds were still in, the song still playing on a soft loop. "You're my, a ghost of a melody in the downpour." And somewhere across the city, speeding towards an airport and a life she didn't want, Prem whispered through her own tears, her words lost to everyone but herself. "You'll always be mine too, even if it kills me." Thank you so much for watching and sharing this story with me. It's stories like these that remind us of the power and complexity of love. If this resonated with you, I'd be so grateful if you'd consider subscribing to the channel. An incredible 98% of you who watch aren't subscribed, and hitting that button truly helps us continue to create content like this. Thank you again, and I'll see you in the next video.